Hello everyone and welcome back. 4.2.1 has gone live and there is the resource event now that you can participate in to get a bunch of juicy new rewards. I've been playing around with it a little bit, trying out some of the different missions after they've got the bug figured out where you couldn't get the intro mission. And I have found what I believe to be the best way to do these missions as quickly as possible and get the max amount of cargo turned in per mission. So we are going to go through that today. I'm going to do a little guide for y'all so you can check that out. If you're a newer player, experienced player, this should help you to be able to get through the missions a little bit faster and get those sweet, sweet rewards. So let's go ahead and get into it. We'll talk about what we need and what we're going to do. All right, so what we are going to be doing is, so this guide is going to, of course, be assuming that you have done the intro mission. I am here at Hurston, although this should apply the same across all the different corporations. You would see, I don't have it right now, but there will be a mission sort of like this under Microtech is the large cargo transporter, something to that degree. When you click on it, it'll say you need 72 SCU of copper, 36 SCU of tungsten, and 72 SCU of corundum. And you're usually going to be picking that up from a outpost on a moon or on the planet of some kind. So what we are going to want to do is we want a ship that can carry all that in one load, and we want an easy way to move that cargo off and on the ship. So if we add this together, it comes to a total of 180 SCU. So that puts it at the upper range of some of the middle to getting into the higher capacity cargo haulers. So what I have found that I think so far is the best ship to do this with is the Argo Raft. The Argo Raft has a 192 SCU cargo capacity. And what we can do is, if you want, you can buy it outright here at the New Deal at Lorville. It is 3.5 million. But as I'll show you in a minute, there also is an option to rent the raft at Lorville. So you can do that if you don't have a ton of money right now. The other thing we're going to need that won't cost you a whole lot is an Argo Atlas. That's only about 75k. This, in my testing, makes loading stuff on the ship and taking it off again way easier and simpler, and a lot easier on my finger that I use for my scroll wheel usually if I'm using my tractor beam. So you're going to want to pick one of those up, because at a lot of these outposts you'll be able to call up, there's a little landing pad where you can call up small ground vehicles or small ships, and you can call the Atlas here, and so you can just use that to load the cargo. So let's go ahead. Well, I have already purchased this and I have a raft. I'll show you real quick where we can also rent the raft if you want to do that. And then we'll get into showing off the mission a little bit and best way to do it. Okay, so when you're in the spaceport, over there you can see the ASOP terminals. We're going to want to be looking for the Vantage Rentals little desk here. We're going to go up to this kiosk. And then we can go to Argo. And we have the Argo Raft. So for one day, we can rent it for about 71,000 AUEC, which is a decent amount, but each of these large hauling missions that you can do pays about 100k, so you'll make that up in, one mission or so. And then as you continue to do more of those, you'll just, make profit as well as getting the event turn-ins. So you can go ahead and rent that if you have not bought it or don't have it already, and make sure you have your Atlas. And then let's go ahead and head to the hangar, and we'll go pick up a mission and walk through it. Alright, so before we hop on the raft, I will recommend also bringing a max lift and a normal tractor beam with you, or, either or technically works. Just in case you're not able to pull an Atlas up, you could do it that way, although the raft also has a vehicle tractor beam. So right here at the back corner of the raft, there is that tractor beam you can use. They are a little bit finicky sometimes for me, so sometimes I still prefer to get out on the ground to do it if I can't call an Atlas up. You may be asking, why don't you just pull an Atlas up the freight elevator and put it on the grid of the Argo Raft? Well, I tried that initially, and then I think there's just a bug with it, and I couldn't pull it back off unless I summoned another Atlas at the site and used the Atlas to grab it off. But that won't really work if there's no way to summon an Atlas at the outpost. So typically, most outposts should have that you're being sent to. They should have a little garage area that you can summon vehicles at. If we look, so let's just say, for example, we go to Norgard on Aberdeen. This is an outpost. You can look here. it has landing pads, vehicle services. As long as it has this garage symbol, you should be able to spawn your Atlas there. I think there's one... I think HDMS Anderson on Aberdeen is one that says it has this, but it actually doesn't have the option to do that. But I have also found when going around to these different locations, some people have brought in Atlases, and they just leave them by the freight elevator. So you may luck out, and there may just be one there that you can use. But otherwise, we'll be able to just pull that up at the site and use that for loading the cargo. So now let's head over to a mission site, and I'll show you how we can do that. Alright, so it's these resource drive, the large size hauls you're looking for. This is the Hurston one in specific. We're going to get that approximately 180 SCU of supplies from HDMS Opari. So we'll go ahead and head there. You'll also notice that it says you need a ship that can carry 4 SCU containers. I wish it was 8, just because of how much there is. It'd make it a little bit easier, but it's doable still. So let's head over there to collect our shipment, and I'll show you how we can do it the best way. Alright, so as we are coming down here, you'll want to look for these little pads that I'm looking at. Should be a little building right next to them. That's where you'll be able to spawn your Atlas at. So we're going to go park this right by a freight elevator. There's a lot of abandoned ships here, so hopefully the elevators are working. But let's get landed, and we'll walk through what we're going to do. You'll want to line up the raft's cargo grid to face. You want to line up the ship to kind of be facing forward away from the freight elevator, because the raft's grid is on the back here. It's wide open, really easy to access, get stuff on with the Atlas. That's partially why I've chosen it as probably the best ship to do these missions with. And the other is going to be that it just has the right amount of carrying capacity to carry everything comfortably for this mission, which is really nice. Something like the Asgard would I think it has 180 SCU capacity, but the way the grid is laid out, and with this being all 4 SCU containers, it wouldn't work out too well for you. Well, you could probably fit it all in there, but you'd have to have some stuff off-grid, which can be a little bit finicky sometimes. So that's why I think the RAF is probably better, and it's more accessible for people. You know, you can rent it, you can buy it in game. The Asgard, you cannot do either of those things. So that's why I think the raft is probably the best option for this, at least at the moment. If you have any other ideas, though, for another ship that's good for this, let me know down in the comments. Alright, so we'll go ahead and bring up our first batch of cargo. Just because of the size of the freight elevator, you can only bring up one, like the 72 SCU of copper, or whatever it is, at a time. So you have to go through that a couple of times. So we'll bring that up. And then we are going to run over to the little vehicle garage and go get our Atlas. Alright, it takes about 30 seconds to expedite the Atlas here. We'll go ahead and pull it up. And then we just got to walk it over to the pad, and then we'll just we'll load all the cargo on and then take it to a station to drop it off. Alright, so here we are with the Atlas. Now I have found typically the best place to stand is somewhere towards the end of the ship, kind of under the engines here. A little bit off to the side, that way you can have access to the whole underside of the cargo grid here. But all you have to do with the Atlas is just click your mouse. It will pull that box off, and then it'll show you a little preview of where you can put it. You can move this slightly by just moving your mouse wheel up and down, but I'm going to go ahead and you can go like that. Ta-da, it'll put it on, or we can scoot a little bit further back, like that. And then it's really just how quickly can you load it. So we'll just go through and we'll load everything on, and then we'll go take it off to where it needs to go. Alright, so then once you get the first round, then you just got to go to the freight elevator, pull up the other one, and then you'll do it again a third time for the last little batch of cargo. And then that should be everything. Alright, then we'll load our last little batch here. Alright, there we go. So we got everything loaded. I'm just going to leave the Atlas here. Hopefully it stays, and then if someone else comes by, they can use it. Or if I come back here, I can use it again. And there we can see, of course, we are almost full on the cargo grid, but the raft has just enough space to do this. So then we are going to go ahead and hop back in the ship, and you can take the supplies to either Everest Harbor or Lorville. I usually prefer to drop it off at Everest Harbor. It's in space, just don't have to go down through the muggy atmosphere of Hurston. So let's go ahead and go to Everest, and we will drop this stuff off. And we can also pull up an Atlas there to unload. There's a you can do it really fast in the hangar there. So I'll show you that once we get there. Okay, so we are landed in the hangar. We'll want to do the same thing here that we did at the outpost, which is to face away from the freight elevator so that our cargo grid is pretty close to it. We'll go ahead and line up like that. Now what we're going to do is we need an Atlas here so we can put everything on the freight elevator. Now, what's really, I think it's probably a bug. So because you can pull the Atlas up on the freight elevator. So all you need to do is as soon as you claim the Atlas here, as soon as it's claimed, you can immediately pull it up the freight elevator. You don't have to wait for the time limit to like expedite it or whatever. It's kind of weird. So we can just go ahead and lower this really quick and then pull it back up with the Atlas, hop in, and we can start unloading everything. Sometimes you can get it all on one cargo elevator. It's a little bit finicky sometimes stacking 4 boxes tall. It'll usually only let me stack 3 tall. And usually if it's just the 3, then you have to do most of it and then a second small extra amount in a second send down. So we'll see what we can do. Typically I'll stand in about the same position, kind of off to the side here at the back corner of the ship. And then you can just grab stuff off. And again, I'm manipulating where I want it to go by using my mouse wheel. So as I scroll forward, it puts it back further. Scroll towards you, it would bring it forward. So you can, if the preview of where it's going to go isn't correct, you can adjust it. Usually you can adjust it in that way. But then it's really just a matter of kind of getting into a groove, and you can get everything on the elevator pretty fast. Usually it doesn't take me more than, I'd say, like 5 minutes to both load and unload. Maybe a little bit less to unload because everything's on there. To load, you have to pull up everything 3 different times. So it just takes a little bit longer to do that. But generally you could probably do 4 or so of these large missions per hour. And then something else you can do is there are medium-sized missions that do about 60 SCU worth of cargo. So you can do those in between the large ones, because they do the large ones. I'm pretty sure all the missions have, I think, an 8-minute or so cooldown. So you can go large, medium, and you can always be doing it. Or you can just wait for it, kind of a personal preference. But if you want to get through it faster, that is one way you could, get some more cargo moving. Alright, so like I said, here's the full elevator full. Like, for some reason in the Atlas, I just can't really ever get it to stack 4 tall. Maybe right there I can get one, but not consistently. So there's a few boxes left, so we'll just send these down real quick and then throw down the rest as well. Alright, and there we got our last box. We'll go ahead and send the rest of those down. And that is the mission. So, pretty simple. Ideally, you won't run into any combat, hopefully no griefers or anything like that. I will say you technically could even do it without the Atlas if you want. Like I said, you can use the ship tractor beam, you could use a max lift, you could even use a regular little, like the pistol-sized tractor beam. I just prefer the Atlas because it saves my finger from scrolling for 8,000 years. And it's a little bit simpler. The only caveat is there might be a couple of outposts you won't be able to pull it up at. But yeah. And then we can go ahead and check my rewards. I've already done quite a few of these missions, so I'm already pretty far along for Hurston. I already have a few of the rewards, but I'm up to about 1,230 now. So each of these missions gets you 180 SCU, and then if you do the medium ones in between the large ones, that's about another 60 or so. So 240 SCU per medium and large. You can just rotate back and forth. You can crank through those pretty quick. And then you can do that for all the different factions if you're just trying to get the rewards. I really think this is the fastest way to do it. The other missions, like the combat ones, let's see if I have any here that I can show you. Like the defend the small cargo ship, or those give you like 20 or so for each one. The large ones give you, I want to say it's like 40, maybe 50. And then there's also some other ones that are on the ground, but those ones are kind of tricky because you have to grab a bunch of boxes at like a random outpost that are all spread all over the place, instead of just being up on the freight elevator, nice and neat. You can just throw them onto the ship cargo grid. So that's why I think these just the hauling missions are probably the best option. If you have any other ideas for better ways to do this, better ships, better contracts, or anything that you have found that makes this easier for you personally, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this guide, definitely leave the video a like, as it really helps the channel. If you want to see more Star Citizen ship news, general news, guides, all sorts of things like that, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have something specific you're wanting to see, make sure to let me know that in the comments as well. But I thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the patch, and I will see you in the verse.